Good day, folks. Sometimes we tend to get blinded by our goals. So, today I want to talk about all the things that you should be doing apart from just working out, how you should be thinking, how you should be structuring things, how you should be working towards your goals. The first thing that I want to talk about is preparation sessions, prehab. Before every workout, you should prepare the main joints of your body. Even if you're not working them out, you should still prepare them. You should just get them moving. So your hips, your knees, your wrists, your shoulders, back, your neck. It's obviously very good to have goals, but sometimes we are blinded by our goals. What I mean by that is, let's say you want to lift heavier in deadlifts. What would you end up doing? You end up compromising your lower back, you end up compromising your whole lifting experience because let's say you don't have strong core. It's fine to want to lift heavier on deadlifts, but the thing is, you should still have separate sessions where you work your lower back, where you work your actually even upper back as well, where you work on core engagement, where you work on that connection between moving in that position and keeping your core engaged. Another example would be doing, let's say, planches. Sometimes people do planches and not train the legs, let's say, but you'd be surprised that deadlifts be a very good addition to planches because it helps you with that leg squeeze in. So you could have goals that not obviously correlated to the other muscles that you do not use or you think you do not use, and that would make you forget about them. So don't be blinded by your goal. Always, if you train a muscle group, always make sure to train the other muscle groups equally. Let's divide it very crudely. Let's say upper body and lower body. You should be training your upper body with the same frequency and intensity as you're training your lower body. You want things to grow in parallel. You don't want to be stronger on one side and not on the other side. The third thing I want to mention is you should be training all the aspects of your muscle. What do I mean by aspects of a muscle? You can train a muscle very slowly and controlled. You can train the muscle very explosively. You can train the muscle in a static position. Which ones should you be going for? Let's say if you're doing dips, should I do explosively? Should I do it slow and controlled? Should I do it quick? Should I do it with just focusing on my chest, not engaging, let's say, my lats? You want to train all of them. Let's say you're doing dips. You want to train the way down to be slow and controlled, and you want to go up explosively. You also want to hold at the bottom and hold at the top, maybe at the end of the sets. So you do, let's say you do a set of 10. Slow on the way down, controlled, and on the way up, push explosively. And then after you hit your 10, you hold down at the bottom for like, let's say 2 or 3 seconds, maybe even 5 seconds, push up explosively and hold for five more seconds. You should be also training the muscle to be coordinated with the other muscles. Don't think that you're not using your lats. Actually, your lats are very important when it comes to doing dips. For the slow and controlled, let's say, you train your tendons, but most importantly for the slow and controlled motion, it also increases the density of the muscle. It does not necessarily make the muscle bigger. If a muscle gets bigger, it could get smaller because if you don't use it as much, it just loses its size. However, if you increase the number of cells, that retains way more. Obviously, you could still lose, the cells could get destroyed, but it's way harder to destroy the number of cells. You still need size, so you should add weight. That's another aspect of a muscle that I forgot to mention. However, you should also train the density of a muscle, which will be way better for you when it comes to activating a muscle more efficiently. When you try to use more neurons when it comes to that muscle, which is that neuromuscular connection, that's better when you use slow and controlled. Explosive is more like releasing that energy that you're storing in your tendons and being able to increase your reflexes when you're trying to use the muscle. Holding the position, that is specifically targeting your tendons, which is very important because you don't want your biceps tendon snapping, for instance. To close out, you want to start all your sessions by preparing your joints, moving your shoulders, moving your hips, moving your wrists, your neck, your back, doing some flowy stuff. It could take 20 minutes, it's worth it. Trust me, at some point I would take 40 minutes to just warm up and do my rehab and all that stuff, engage my muscles, just feel the engagement of my serratus anterior. I still do that, it's still an issue that I'm dealing with. For those who want to start to work out, how would you want to structure your workout? I would say you want to start by building a very good basis. To do that, you will need good core, good push muscles, good pull muscles, and good legs. That's basically everything. Once you hit these, you can start evolving goals. So as a start, you should start by doing planks. You should start by doing horse stances. You should do pull-ups, get really good at pull-ups, get really good at push-ups. When I say good, I'm not saying the number, I'm saying get a good form. When you hit 5 bad form, aim for 5 with good form. When you hit 5 with good form, aim for 10 with good form, and so on. You can start increasing weight. The second thing is, if you're starting to work out or you want to get into working out, you should start by being mindful of your body. What muscles do I engage when I'm doing this exercise? What happens when I start, let's say, twisting my wrist in this way in the push-up instead of doing the push-up let's say this way? What happens if I do it this way? Yet start playing around, and not too much at the beginning, but you should start being mindful of what happens when you switch small things. And finally, I want to say that for those who have been working out for so long, you should start by looking for your weaknesses and targeting those weaknesses. If you like this video, hit subscribe, like, and share with your friends, and let me know in the comments what you think I should talk about next.